Good morning and welcome to today's edition of TVC Breakfast. My name is Shettima. Edu.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us on the midweek edition. I am Veronica Danny Boy.
Good morning, Nigeria. My name is Olamide Odekune, and I'm so pleased that you're choosing to spend your morning here with us on the TVC Breakfast Show.
And of course, what a beautiful Wednesday. Thank you for joining us. A fantastic show it is going to be. I am Ria Abdul. Thanks for always joining us.
Great. Interesting, blessed are thou amongst women.
I wanted to say that the table is not gender friendly today at all.
But we got you. You know, we always got you. So.
3 against 1.
Definitely, like we have rightly said, we have an array of issues we'll be looking at this morning, talking about how the government has been making moves to restore investor confidence, and then every other stories that we'll be looking at this morning. Definitely, we'll be looking at stories on the front pages of the newspapers as well as stories that are trending now. But first, let's begin with this story where Vice President Kashim Shettima has commended the over $1 billion Green Imperative Agricultural Initiative, saying it is a milestone in Nigeria's renewed strategic alliance with Brazil, grounded in mutual respect and practical cooperation. He said this during the opening session of the second Nigeria-Brazil Strategic Dialogue Mechanism at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. TVC News State House correspondent Femi Akonde has details.
Vice President Kashim Shettima acknowledged the long-standing relationship between Nigeria and Brazil and how recent efforts by the Tinubu administration to strengthen cooperation are yielding results. The Vice President explained that Nigeria is laying the foundation for a $1 trillion economy by 2030, with reforms spanning agriculture, energy, education, and public finance.
Two economies with immense natural and human capital. Two nations with the right to dream and the ability to build. This is a partnership of equals.
On his part, Brazil's Vice President Agric said the strengthening of the Brazil-Nigeria partnership is anchored on shared values and a concrete results agenda. Agric highlighted Nigeria's presence in the second Brazil-Africa Dialogue on Food Security held in Brasilia last May, pointing out areas where the two countries have strengthened partnership and cooperation.
Partnership has been strengthened also by the frequent high-level visits, such as the recent participations of President Bola Tinubu's recent participation in Brazil during the G20 meeting. And
Minister of Foreign Affairs Ambassador Yusuf Tugar said the event marks the epoch of Nigeria-Brazil bilateral relations and a shared commitment to strengthening cooperation with mutual understanding.
Our discussions will focus on key agenda areas: trade and investment, agriculture, defense and intelligence cooperation, culture and health, energy and climate change, and foreign relations.
Also, Minister of Defense Mohammed Badaru Abubakar stated that the strategic dialogue meeting is not just a meeting of two friendly nations, but a meeting to share a vision for peace, security, and sustainable development.
The government of Brazil, for the first time, has approved and appointed an agricultural attaché in the person of Dr. Frederique.
7 memoranda of understanding spanning critical sectors including agriculture, defense, energy, culture, and counter-narcotics were signed on the first day of the meeting, with orders lined up for the coming days. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
Right, this is part of the President's Renewed Hope agenda, and like our reporter rightly pointed out, it is laying the foundation for the government's $1 trillion economy. It is something they had projected while they were coming into this administration. It was part of their campaign to build a $1 trillion economy, and bilateral talks and relationships like this are crucial. Yes. to developing that $1 trillion economy, and we are seeing that taking shape already.
Yeah, $1 billion down already, you know, and then Brazil has shown seriousness in agricultural collaboration. They already have an attaché that they have appointed, Mr. Enrique, and all this stuff will move very well if there's transparency and there's mutual respect. The respect that is going on right now, if it continues, then this relationship is going to work. The issue that they are focusing on, all the issues they are focusing on are so important right now. Defense, you know, the economy, and so on, education, agriculture. These are areas that Nigeria needs a lot of investment in. And if we have a country like Brazil collaborating with Nigeria on those areas, yes, there's hope for the future, and I hope we're going to have more.
About 30 MOUs were signed yesterday, and still staying with you, Shettima, the matter of transparency that you raised is what I really want you to expatiate on, because yes, we often talk about transparency here and accountability and all. You've spoken about mutual respect, which is something they have said they are going to be a part of and ensure mutual respect. But when you say transparency, what are your concerns? Quickly.
In relationships like this, there are always counterpart funding for one project or the other. You know, if we say, okay, we're going to do stuff in agriculture, for example, and Brazil brings what they are supposed to bring, Nigeria should bring what we are supposed to bring immediately, so that the thing keeps moving on. And that also increases the mutual respect I'm talking about. You know, I really hope that this alliance is going to work out very well, and that $1 trillion economy we're talking about might just be the minimum in 2030.
It becomes a reality. Yes. Let's get your perspective, Olamide.
New international agreements always look great on paper. They make for great photo ops, but it would be great to see, you know, tangible things come from towards Nigerians from these sorts of bilateral pacts. We do share very strong ancestry with Brazil.
Absolutely.
We do have a lot of Yoruba-rooted communities. So this is sort of like a rekindling of bloodlines, if you will.
Yeah.
These trade routes and these things that we're doing now, they should have been active decades ago. We share a lot of ancestry with these people. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes.
Absolutely. Culture is also part of what they are talking about. Like she rightly pointed out, there is that similarity that we have shared over the years. A lot of them come into Nigeria to learn a thing or two and they take back. So there's been an export of our culture over there over the years. But from your perspective, how do you think this will benefit young Nigerians?
And I say this all the time. Since the 1960s, Nigeria and Brazil have been close pals. So it's not like it's just they woke up one morning and they became close friends. They've always had this on and off relationship. And I tell you something, they are very particular. There are so many things that are alike when we talk about Nigeria and Brazil. We talk about natural resources, oil. We talk about like large economy as well.
Absolutely.
We talk about culture, we speak about agriculture. And I'm really highlighting on agriculture for this particular one because they have done well with the agriculture. And this is Nigeria. We are trying to do better with agriculture. So I feel like when these two people come together, two heads are definitely better than one. So when they come together, I'm expecting that, you know, a lot of things will happen. And this is also under the president's renewed hope as well. So these are things that are being put in place.
But for the young people, how do you think they can benefit?
There's so many ways they can benefit. We're talking about culture, we're talking about tourism, we're talking about agriculture here. If agriculture is good, most of our young people will go into farming. The other day we were speaking about it that a lot of young people do not want to go into farming again because they feel like it's not lucrative, because they feel like, you know, it's not stable, anything can happen at any time. But if all these are fixed rightly, there's no way that will say that our young people will not get to gain from it, and especially tourism and agriculture as well.
Absolutely. I'm hammering on the aspect of young persons because whatever we do now, whatever the government is doing right now, it's still going to be hinged on the future of the country, which the young people have to carry on.
We make up of it.
People are very interested in things like this. There's I don't know if you know about this movement, Ria. It's called Homecoming.
Oh, yeah,
You know, every year lots of returnees come from the diaspora. They want to be at home. They want to share this international connection. And so I think young people will definitely tap into the tourism aspect.
Exactly. I was going to speak on tourism and agriculture as well. Those two, tourism and agriculture.
Tourism, agriculture, and education and the rest. They are all opportunities to create jobs, opportunities to create direct and indirect jobs, and our young people should just take advantage of it, especially the indirect jobs. Our young people think so much about employment that they want to get a job, but they don't see opportunities that present themselves when things like this happen. So my plea and my push is that young people should try as much as possible to recognize the opportunities that this kind of relationship will bring, especially when the jobs are being created. They should know that direct jobs are not just the only opportunity. Indirect jobs.
Indirect jobs.
Absolutely. Veronica, you did ask us, how will young people benefit from this or the role we have to play. Is there a space for us? I have to ask you now.
Why not?
There is a space for us.
Why is there no space?
And even when there's no space, you force yourself in, but there is a space for us.
Hang on, right. When we're talking about space for the young persons, when you look at the president's agenda, he has often spoken about young persons to the extent that there's going to be a conference where young persons are to be seated to have conversations about how things affect them. Are they willing to speak? Are they ready to make themselves available? Do they have the skills? Do they have what is required for them to take on some of these things that the government is putting in place? So those are the issues that have to be addressed. A lot of young persons are interested, but do they have the skills required? Do they have access to resources? How are they even engaging some of these persons? Because if you are not in their face, they'll give it to someone else. So you have to have conversations with them. It's going to be a bilateral, not bilateral, a symbiotic kind of relationship between the young persons and the government. Are they willing to have the handshake with government? But we
and
need
I want to see more young people in agriculture. So yeah, I know we need to see a lot of young people in agriculture.
We'll take a breather. When we return, it will be time for the newspaper review. Stay with us.